Board games releasing on game consoles isn't anything new. I remember back in the PS1 days going over to a friend's house and playing Risk with a bunch of other people. Not Risk the board game on a table, but Risk the board game on a PS1. The Nintendo Switch has a bunch of board games available to it already, including Risk and of course Monopoly. But it just got another one today that's a little bit different than the other board games. Monopoly and Risk have a lot more strategy elements, have a lot of money management, but this board game is all about guessing and putting little pegs on a grid. If you haven't already guessed, here is my review of Battleship for the Nintendo Switch. When it comes to gameplay, Battleship for the Nintendo Switch is very much like the board game it's based on. Two players play ships on a grid, take turns attacking singular tiles, and the game ends when a single player loses all their ships. Here's the first thing we need to cover. Battleship on the Switch is a direct port of the same Battleship game that's on iOS, Android, and Steam under the title of Hasbro's Battleship, not to be confused with the earlier mobile Battleship title that was just called Battleship. The upside of this being a port is the fact that it's got cross-platform play between Switch, mobile, and PC. At least as far as I know. I know it's got cross-platform play, but they didn't really give a lot of detail on what systems that involved. What I do know is that I've been doing online multiplayer off and on for the past 2 weeks, and I've never had to wait more than 3 or 4 seconds before being paired with someone and starting a fight. When it comes to game modes, you have 2 different options that are available in both single player and multiplayer. You can either play Battleship in Classic Mode or Commander Mode. Classic Mode is just like the original board game where you just set up your ships and each turn is just you attacking a random peg on the map and you keep going back and forth until someone's ships are all sunk. Commander's Mode, however, is a much more fun and fast-paced way to play the game. This version of Battleship has a bunch of different commanders that you can unlock by fulfilling objectives, and each of those commanders have special abilities. And when you play Commander's Mode, you can use those abilities. Instead of just attacking a peg each turn, you gain energy every turn that you can use for skills that can attack or reveal a lot of the map all at once. A few examples would be firing a torpedo across an entire line of the map, using a bomb to blow up an entire section, or using a special unique commander ability to do a mass attack across the entire map. This makes the game feel a lot more fast-paced because honestly, as much as I love the original Battleship game, it does tend to feel a little bit slow after a while. Outside of these 2 modes, the game's also got an achievement and a rank system. The game constantly has 3 objectives for you to do to give you experience and increase your rank, and whenever you finish an achievement, it gives you a new one pretty much indefinitely. This increases the longevity of the game because ranking up is how you unlock more content. You only have 2 or 3 commanders available at the beginning of the game and you don't have all of the maps available. As you increase your rank, you're going to slowly unlock all of those maps and all of those commanders. Most of the objectives are pretty easy too, so it's pretty addicting to be able to just go through a game and get those objectives done to see you rank up. But the game does have a couple problems we need to talk about, the first of which is multiplayer. Online multiplayer, don't have any problems with. I've always been able to go into an online match and go through without any issues. But local multiplayer is a bit of a hassle, namely because you need a companion app and a mobile device to be able to do local multiplayer. In essence, the local multiplayer doesn't really happen on the Nintendo Switch at all. Essentially, the Switch is used as a sort of server for 2 mobile devices, and the companion apps or the official Battleship game on those mobile devices are what you actually play on. I found this to be a really strange way to handle a local multiplayer. The second problem with this version is the price. Nintendo Switch version of Battleship is $20. It only costs $10 on Steam and only $5 on mobile. Granted, the mobile version does have in-app purchases for quick unlocks for all the commanders, which the Switch doesn't, but that's a huge price difference. I'm not saying you can't get enough hours out of the game just trying to unlock stuff to justify that $20 price tag, but that price difference is a little bit too much. Let's get into controls for just a second because I have one little glitch I want to talk about. The control schemes are fine. It's got button controls as well as touch controls so you can play it however you want, but every once in a while a single directional input will be registered as 2. This mostly happens on the map selection screen, but I have had a few times where it's happened in game where I'll hit a directional input and instead of going over 1 tile or 1 selection, it'll go over 2. And when it does this, I'll have to mess around, undock the Switch, and use the touch controls to get it to go over the option I want. Now when it comes to presentation, I don't really have any complaints. It looks nice, crisp, and clear in its little cartoony design. It's got some really nice symphonic background music when you're playing the game, and there aren't really any performance problems. No frame drops, no crashing. And when we get into battery life, it's pretty great as you'd expect from how the game looks. Battleship for the Nintendo Switch has a battery range of 4 hours and 22 minutes on high settings, up to 5 hours and 21 minutes on low settings. Now in conclusion, Battleship for the Nintendo Switch brings a lot of fun to fans of the classic board game. Now the downside, it does have a few issues from the high price and the requirement of needing a companion app and a mobile device to do local multiplayer. But if you want some Battleship fun by yourself or using the online multiplayer, watch for a sale because it's still a lot of fun. Reviews to Go rates Battleship for the Nintendo Switch a 7.5 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.